Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video on my channel here. Now in today's video, guys, I'm going to be bringing you a really good lockdown defense you guys can use in Madden 21 today. The play we're going to be going over is the play Dog 3 Show 2 out of Nickel 245 double A gap. I'm currently using the New York Giants defensive playbook. However, I will have in the top description and the top comment pinned will be all of the playbooks that this specific play is in. That way you can go, and if you're using that specific playbook right now, you can just add this to your defensive scheme. So guys, before we do get in the video though, if you do want to follow me on Twitter, my link is down below. Also, if you guys want to check out my Discord, it's going to be in the link below. It's just a place for us to chat and whatnot. I'm trying to grow a little bit of a community here for the Yo-Yo Gang, so if you want to go ahead and do that, that'll be in the link in the description. If you do not have a Discord account, I'll also have the sign up link in there as well. And if you guys also want to check out my two most recent videos, and as well as some of my other schemes I've done on my channel, the schemes will be in the description, as well as the two most recent videos will be in the top right of the screen right now on the card. But guys, without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get into the defense. Alright guys, so here we go. This is the defense here, Dog 3 Show 2. Now quickly, I'm going to be going over to start here the pre-play adjustments. Now what you're going to do first of all, before you even get into a game, before you even test out this defense, you have to first order out your depth chart. Now what I do is I go to my depth chart and sub linebacker. This is really key because these are the players that are going to be at your linebacker spots. What I did was I subbed in two players at linebacker. So I have Grant Delpit as the second sub linebacker and Redwine as the first sub linebacker. The reason why is because Grant Delpit is going to line up on the left side of this formation, and Redwine is going to be the right side linebacker. And Redwine is actually going to be the player that we're going to be using in most of these setups as either in man coverage or in a zone coverage. So it's going to be really imperative that your user is on the left side linebacker. And that's pretty much all I have to say in terms of the subs. Now in terms of, and also if you do have a really good safety or two really good safeties on top, what you could do is you could also sub in a cornerback at those two safety spots, two cornerbacks, and then you can bring those safeties down and make them linebackers, and basically have one of them be your user. Now in terms of the coaching adjustments, what I'm going to do is ball under defense is on play ball, and then my zone drops, my flats are on 5 yards, and curl flats are on 20 yards. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but now guys, let's go ahead. Let's get into the first defensive setup. Alright guys, so here we go. We are in the defense. So this is what it looks like stock here. This is actually not too bad. As you can see, this defensive lineman is on a 3-reception hook, which is actually a really good zone in the game this year. It's going to cover like those crossing routes coming over the middle, and also some drags and slants too, so it's a really good zone this year. You also will have two seam flats on the field, as well as a couple of deep zones. Now the reason why it is Dog 3 Show 2 is because it actually shows a cover 2, which is going to be really key because your opponent automatically out of the gate is going to think by reading this defense that it is a cover 2, when in reality we actually are playing a cover 3 defense. Now in terms of the setup, the first setup we're going to get into is really basic. It's going to involve a lot of man coverage. So the first thing we're going to do, guys, is we're going to press our entire defense, which is going to be triangle down the left stick. So basically what that does is it's going to bring all of the cornerbacks down, and also is going to take this free safety and it's going to move him a bit to the left, which is going to be really key right here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to shade our entire defense over the top, which is going to be triangle up on the right stick. Basically, it's going to take those seam flat zones that we saw before, and it's going to make them curl flats, which is really good because curl flats do play better than seam flats. And also, it's going to prevent your outside guys, like for example, you have Mitchell right here, Terrence Mitchell, he's on Calvin Ridley. It's going to prevent him from getting beat deep as easily, and it's going to cause him to bail out of the coverage rather than trying to do a big press and basically making you vulnerable for the deep ball on the far left side. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to implement that man coverage. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be manning up this left side blitzing corner right here on any of these like two receivers right here. I'd say either Julio Jones or Russell Gage. Now it really is all depending on how your opponent is playing. If he's utilizing that slot receiver a lot, man him up on the slot receiver, or if he's not really utilizing him, but the triangle receiver, like the second receiver on the left side, if he is going to him a lot, or he has an X factor, then I'd recommend manning him up on him. Now how you're going to do that is you're either going to double tap triangle, press the DB icon, which is triangle, flick the right stick up, and then press the receiver that you want to man up on's icon, which is going to be triangle in this case. We'll do it on Julio Jones. And you see right here now it's man coverage, which is going to be really good against some routes, and it will overall do a really good job. And also it is Denzel Ward in that spot, so your best corner will be there, which is really good because it will basically implement like airtight coverage. Now, the next thing we're going to do here is we are going to be taking this other linebacker right here, who I did mention before is going to be playing in man coverage as well as zones, and we're going to put him in a man coverage. Now, considering he's on the right side, you can do one of two things. You can either man him up on either the tight end or the running back. It really depends. Like, if your opponent is using a lot of his running back out of the backfield in terms of the passing game, I'd man him up on him. So, for example, let's say he's throwing Todd Gurley on, like, these wheel routes and he's beating you every time. You can man him up on him. Or you could go and you could cross man this linebacker right here. You could cross man him on either square or O, and he's going to cover him decently well, and it's going to stop some of the big routes in the game. So how you're going to do man coverage is you can either double tap the right D-pad, press X, flick up on the right stick, and then press the icon that you want to do. So in this case here, we're going to do O, because let's just say hypothetically he's using O on a lot of routes. Or another thing you could do is you could click onto the player. I didn't mention this with the blitzing corner, but you can click onto the player, press X, flick up on the right stick, and then you can basically man cover anybody. So in this case, we're going to do O, and I see my opponent like, oh, he's doing crossing routes to the slot receiver. Got to go man him up. Like, you got to read your opponent and how he's doing his offense. Now, that's basically it for the first setup right here, and your user is already on a blitz, so you're already going to have that boost in agility, which is really huge. And I did do a route combo out of trips, so we're just going to run this play. Basically, we really have to kind of keep in mind that, like, backside in route or whatever, we have to really kind of read the soft zone of the coverage. Now I'm going to set up the defense again, and I'm going to show you guys what the soft zones in the coverage is. So as you can see right here, it's a really easy setup. So basically right here, out of this coverage, the soft zones are going to be over here. That's going to be a really big soft zone between this curl flat and the end of this 3-reception hook, because it is a cover 3. So the seams can get beat really easily. So it's going to be really imperative that you guard this zone, as well as on the opposite side too, because you see that there's a lot of area open right here, which is going to be really, really key for you to cover. Now, I will go over this. This is not a big pass rush defense. This is not a big pass rush defense. This is more of a coverage defense. All of the setups are going to be based on coverage to try and make your opponent to force some throws, and as a result, you get picks. But that's pretty much going to be it for the first setup. So now guys, let's go ahead. Let's move into the second setup. Alright guys, so here we go. This is going to be the next setup. Now this is actually going to be a decent setup right here. This is not going to be geared towards man coverage. It's more geared towards zone coverage. Now, first thing we're going to do, guys, every single setup is going to start off this way. We're going to press and shade over the top, which if you forgot, press is going to be triangle down the left stick, and then shade over the top is triangle up on the right stick. Then next thing we're going to do here is we're going to put this blitzing corner who we originally manned up on the triangle receiver. We're actually going to put him in a vertical hook with zone, which is going to be either double tapping triangle, pressing triangle, and then flicking the left stick down, or you can press X and flick the left stick down as well if you're clicked on to Denzel Ward. Then what we're going to do is we are going to put this right side linebacker in a QB spy, which is going to be X, and then flick the right stick to the left if you're clicking on, or it's going to be right on the D-pad, pressing X and flicking the right stick to the left if you are going to be doing the D-pad method. Now, basically what a spy does, this is actually a really, really good zone, because not only does it watch the quarterback and basically prevents the quarterback from scrambling, but it also does a really good job in terms of covering the middle. So let's say my opponent is throwing a lot of option routes out there with his running back. This is actually going to do a pretty good job of covering those option routes and really giving you a chance to not really worry about the backfield and more worry about what's going on, like over here and whatnot. And it really does open up it really does do well on defense, and that's the big key right here. And it's overall actually not a bad, I'll call it a zone just for the sake of this video. It is sort of a zone, but basically this is going to be the setup. Now what you're going to have to worry about once again is in this area right here is going to be really big, and I'd say really like maybe this area right here, considering this is a curl flat, he's going to be dropping back about 20 yards, so maybe cover about this area if you can. But otherwise, this is more of a like middle centric defense with the 3-reception hook, the spy, and the vertical hook. You're going to get a lot of coverage over the middle, and it's going to stop like those slant routes, the post routes, those kind of things. So here we go. We're going to run this play. We're running PA slot corner out of gun trips tight ends. So we're just going to run this play. You're going to see that we sort of defend right here. Myles Garrett gets through, and as a result, he's going to drop Matt Ryan. You saw that the coverage was pretty good right there, and overall the middle was really clamped, and the only way where you can get really beat on this defense is on the outsides, and that's if your curl flats don't drop back far enough. So that's really the biggest thing right there. So guys, without further ado though, let's go ahead, let's move on to the third defensive setup. Okay guys, so here we go. This is the third defensive setup. I'm currently running out of the verticals play in gun strip set end, so I'm just going to do a route combo real quick. We'll do like this. We'll option the running back and we'll put square on a drag. Just a very simple route combo, nothing really too advanced to it. But what we're going to do here, guys, is we're actually going to implement a what's it called? What is it? I'm trying to think of the word right now. It's like a strategy, I guess you could say. It's called mabling. It's basically when you have a hard or cloud flat and a curl flat on both sides of the field. And it's actually really effective for stopping the outside routes, which really dominate Madden, like out routes and corner routes and drag routes and slant routes, that kind of thing. Crossers is another good one too. It really kind of stops that, which is a very big key in Madden this year, because they're very, very prevalent. This is more of a passing game this year, I will say. So let's go ahead. Let's get into the defense. So once again, you know how we started off. We're going to press. We're going to shade over the top. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take the blitzing corner right here. We're going to throw him in a hard flat, which could be double tapping triangle, pressing triangle, and then flicking the left stick to the left. Basically now this is going to put him in a hard flat. It's going to stop any like quick out routes, flat routes, that kind of thing, drag routes coming from left to right to basically start off the play. It's going to do a really good job of stopping that, and it's overall going to be really good at also stopping like the out routes too, like the medium out routes or the short out routes. Does a pretty good job of doing that. Then the next thing we're going to do, and the final thing we're going to do, is we're going to take this linebacker right here. We're going to throw him into a hard flat, which is going to be double tapping the right D-pad, pressing X, and flicking the right stick to the right. So basically, this is going to be the setup right here. You see how we have both a hard flat and a curl flat on both sides of the field, and that's basically going to be the coverage. Now, in terms of what you're going to have to worry about, you're going to have to worry about like right here once again, and you're going to have to worry about right here. Those are going to be some really big things that you have to worry about out of this defense, because it is a cover 3, so you can get beat in the seams. So just kind of keep that in mind right here. But we're going to run this defense here. You're going to see that we're covering, then we're going to come right back down. Myles Garrett, you are just a freaking legend, my guy. See, that's so good. And I didn't mention this as well. If you have good pass rushers, put them on the edge, so in these two positions, because these two positions are going to be your only guys rushing pretty much, because basically these two players right here are both on zones. This left DT is on a 3 reception hook, and then this right defensive tackle is on a seam flat. So you definitely want to go and you want to put your best edge rushers on the edge, because or your best rushers overall on the edge, because if you have like Myles Garrett or TJ Watt on the edge, they're just going to do absolute work, and they're just going to wreak hell for basically the entire offensive line. So you saw right there that the coverage was pretty locked down. We actually were able to get pressure there, which is really good. But now, guys, let's move on to the grand finale, the fourth and final setup. Okay, guys, so here we go. This is going to be the last setup on defense right here. What we are going to do, first thing is obviously going to be pressing and shading over the top. Next thing we're going to do now is we're actually going to man up all the blitzing corner and the 2 linebackers. That's going to be really important, because we're going to be able to cover 3 receivers on the field, which is going to be really key right here. So how we're going to do this corner right here, just double tap triangle, press his icon, flick him on the right stick. We're going to man him up on triangle, considering he's lined right up with them. We're going to take Grant Delpit. We're going to man him up on, let's just say, O. So it's going to be actually right in the D-pad. Press that 2 times. Press the icon, flick up on the right stick, and then press the receiver icon. Then we're going to man up red wine right here on the tight end. So basically this is what it looks like, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the safety that's opposite of a bunch, or where most of the receivers are in the formation. So in this case here, gun bunch tight end, I'm going to take the strong safety, and I'm going to be using him right here, and I'm going to be blitzing him, which is going to be Xing down the right stick. Basically, it's going to allow you to have more agility, and it's overall just going to be really, really good. Now, in terms of this play right here, what you're going to really want to watch is going to be over the middle, because now that you are using a safety, you have vacated the middle, and yes, you don't have to worry about like Julio Jones, Russell Gage, or Hayden Hurst on this play, but you still have to worry about the running back and also Calvin Ridley. So just keep that in mind, but you do have other zones on the field that could help you. And you also could as well, you could actually do the free safety. You could actually put him in an inside third, and he would cover the middle for you. So you could go and run something like this, where you don't have like a lot of zones to the left side, but you do have a middle third that will cover it for you. So really, you can just go with that. We're just going to run this play, though. You're going to see that we have to worry about Julio Jones, and as you can see, 2 guys end up getting through right there, and we get the sack on Matt Ryan. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you did, smash a like. We'll smash 5 likes. You guys are the greatest. I'm so thankful to have you every day. Guys, take care. Most importantly, stay classy.